I know that now, of course, Pippin is where you're right across the street from Park. I mean, you're quintessentially New York, right?
Yeah.
Uh, where did you start back in '98?
So I worked out of my apartment for the first year, and then I had just gotten married and I got pregnant, and I did spend probably the first year after my son was born. The nanny would be in the living room. It was like it was a pretty large 1-bedroom apartment, but she'd be in the living room and I'd be in my bedroom and I'd play classical music to drown out the baby crying. And clients would come over and the place, and it's all, I mean, it's also cute to think about now because we're like so much more professional now, but it was quite something. So if my clients came for a meeting, their place they had to sit was on the edge of my bed, and I had my desk, and that's where we had our meetings. It was just how we did it, and that went on for a little bit, and then obviously that couldn't last too long. And then I think for probably the next 8 years, I got this condo on 38th Street, a small office condo, and that was like a place to go. And we moved to a larger apartment, and that was a place to, like, that's where our office was until this was about 8 years ago. We moved up to Bryant Park and have plenty of space now and a lot more people working for us. And but it was pretty homey for a really long time. It's still kind of homey.
Well, we've got lots of questions about Pippin because you're going to go on to become a juggernaut in children's publishing. I mean, for God's sake, anybody that wants to pull up your client list, we've mentioned Kate DiCamillo, previous guest, Kathy Appelt, Catherine Applegate, Jonathan Mayberry. There's too many names here for me to go through and name all of these amazing writers that you've represented. When did you have a feeling that, okay, this was something I was doing out of my apartment, but what's the equivalent of I've made it for being a literary agent? When did you feel confident that the Pippin Industries was going to be around for all the way up until present?
You know, I can't say I ever felt that way. I don't have a business degree. I have a lot of friends a lot of people tell me I should have been a lawyer because I'm very detail oriented and I like logic, but I also have this creative side. So I have like these two different parts. And I remember talking. So my client, Peter H. Reynolds, is very dear to me. And we talked at one point about his book, The Dot, which has sold over 1 million copies. This grassroots movement was started by T.J. Shea, this incredible music teacher in Iowa. And, Peter would talk about when he wins the lottery. And I remember one day, we have these like pretty intense conversations fairly often. And I said, do you realize you already won the lottery? Like you won. And then I realized like I had too. And it's just, you're going about your day, you're on your email, you try to clear your inbox out, you have really important emails, and then another email where an editor is asking you for your author's address, and please, why are you asking me for that? Like, please ask my assistant. It's going to be, I have to go look at it. And so, like, regular life doesn't change even with such great success, right? You still are the person you were. And so I can't say I ever had that feeling. However, when I look at the careers of what we've, and it's a lot, it's mostly talent, but it's also great management, because you can be incredibly talented and not have a great agent, and you're not going to end up where some of our clients have ended up, right? So you look at a Jason Reynolds, or like when we took over Catherine Applegate, or how Kate DiCamillo's career has been managed, or Peter Reynolds, or like, it's nothing happens if you're not an incredible genius, but nothing can happen if you are a genius without the right management. So I can kind of see, for my clients and our clients and my colleagues' clients, I can see what's possible. But it's not often I step back to think like, oh, I started this whole thing. I just don't really think like that,
Sounds better than winning the lottery to me, because you win the lottery, they put it in the paper, then you've got relatives from way back when that you haven't talked to in forever suddenly ringing up. I see you've suddenly come into a bunch of money, whereas not only, I assume there's some money involved, but also you're getting to, I assume, there's got to be this feeling of tremendous satisfaction when you look at your client list, when you look at some of the books that you've helped bring to the world and bring to young readers. That has to be an enormous feeling of satisfaction with what you've done with this life.
Yeah, it's been a call. I'd say it's been a calling. It's something I haven't grown tired of. I love words and pictures, and I have a, let me just show you. I have something. I can't tell you what it is, but this is like what I'm going to spend my weekend doing. Can't show you the name. And this is a huge, huge thing by one of my favorite writers of all time, clients, and I'm very excited to read it. So it's not easy to juggle all the reading and things with, having a family. I have 3 children, but it's been a great way to spend my life. Yeah.